Welcome to the donhat crew, and today we have a deck profile for Utah. I was finally able to get two structured decks on during the event. Won the event, got the cool looking Luffy here, and fortunately I got this event, not the one that restands the whole board that you have. But I've been testing Utah for the past 2 months, and that's why I got all the expensive cards prior to them going up in price. And I'm gonna show you my list that I have at this point for OP05. So since we're playing the Utah leader, we wanna play film cards. So we're gonna play 4 Namis. This card is just amazing. The way you can search in this deck and get all the combo pieces that you want. And this card can generate so much value. It's just crazy, man. And the other expensive card-ish is 3 Bartolomeus. At first I was playing like 4 of them, but then I play tested and I noticed that basically you don't need 4 of them, because in this deck, if you can search like with the Namis, with the Uta leader, and with the event of New Genesis, any card that is not always good should be at 3. That's at least my opinion. That's why Bartolomeo is at 3, because he's not always good, but when he's good, he's so broken. He's basically a blocker that restands a blocker. So if they don't deal with the Barto, it's just a huge problem for the opponent. So this card is a very good card in this deck, and it's a film. And we don't have a lot of film cards that are good at this point, especially 2k counters. That's why I'm running 4 Law. It's not that it's a bad card, I've seen people don't run it, but the reason I run it because it can save you 2 Dawn, which is very crucial, because this deck is very reliable if you can Dawn manage your whole play style. If you want to learn more about how to manage Dawn, you can watch a video above I made about how you should place Dawn and how you should specifically play the game to make your Dawn more efficient. And this card helps you a lot, especially if you go second, you can play this. Then if you have the Nami, basically for 1 Dawn you switch this for a Nami, you use the Nami, you get a search, and you still have 2 more Dawn for a 7k swing with the lead, and you just +2 with these 2 cards. It's amazing. It's an amazing card. If you go first, you can also do this combo. Just add 1 Dawn to the Utah attack, get a card, and then play this so that the next turn you just either swing with this, because then you're gonna be at 5 Dawn. You can go for 5k with 2 Dawn with this, then use 1 Dawn for the Nami, get the Nami, use the Nami's effect to search, and you still have 1 more Dawn to add to the Utah and swing again, and then get another search. So this is a good card early in the early game. After you go past like 4 Dawn, maybe 5 Dawn, you don't want to play him like at all. You're just gonna discard him as a 1k counter, and that's it. So that's the reason he's in the deck. I'm running only 2 vanilla Zoros because, once again, like I said, this deck searches a lot. If I really need him, I can find him with either the Nami, with the Utah, or with the New Genesis. And usually you're just gonna play him with the Luffy. Usually you're not gonna play him otherwise. So 2 is more than enough in my opinion to have just to swarm the board, because there's just not a lot of space for cards that can do more than what Zora can do. I would rather just play for 4 Dawn the Brook, and with the Brook I would rather just play the Usopp on top or the Nami on top, or even the new blocker that we got just now of Utah, which I also run 4 of. So I would rather just use these to swarm and build my board than play a Zoro. I will only play a Zoro if I don't have these or this when I drop my Luffy, or when I play the Brook. If I don't have these, then, you know, maybe I will consider playing a Zoro for that 4 Dawn, but usually it's not that efficient, and since we search a lot, 2 is more than enough in my opinion. And then we're gonna go to the 2k counters. As we all know, this deck does not have a lot of defense. We only have 4 2k counters that are searchable at this point, We're gonna get a new structure deck in a month with the Mihawk. That's gonna be a good card that we will add into the deck. Once the EB1 with the chopper comes out, we will get the blocker Sanji, which will be good, and it's a film, which we will be able to search. But at this point, the deck doesn't have a lot of 2k counters. I run 4 of the choppers and I run 4 of the Izos, simply because we need to have at least 8 2k counters in the deck. I mean, you could consider adding, like, let's say this, right? And after you add this, you will have more cards. After you add this, you will have more cards, but there's not a lot of 2k counters that are good, so I would rather run the Izo. That's the best 2k counter you can run right now. So this is what I'm going to be using. Next up, we have the Monkey D. Luffy blocker. I'm only running 3 of them, and why do I do that? Usually, in my experience, I would like to go wide. I will want to be aggressive. If I can get my pluses from the Nami, from the leader, I will get them, just to have more cards as an advantage. But most of the time, all I want to do is just go for game. And Luffy comes up sometimes, and since I can have a lot of searches with Nami, with the Utah, and with the event card, I mean, 3 is more than enough. It's not it has no counter. You're not gonna play more than 2 throughout the whole game, definitely. And if you will want to play 2, you will find them. It's not that hard to find the Luffy, to be honest. With Nami searching 3 cards, with this adding a card, and with the event card searching as well, you're gonna find at least one of them. And it's not like you always want to play him. Sometimes you will see a play where you don't want to play him and just go aggressive with your board because you have a white board, and just go aggressive with them. And, you know, that's why I play 3, because I want more space for other cards. Because we are forced to play some non-film cards like the Izo, just to have defense or more plays. So that's why I run only 3 of this. Because I ran 2 of the Eustace Kid. I only have 1 on me right now, but there's 2 of them in the build. Simply because this is a very good card. If you look at the list of the guy that won the Japanese Nationals, he's running 4 of them. But they're like in OP07 right now, so their meta is a bit different. But I would rather play this instead of the Luffy, because it's kind of like Luffy, but even better. Because if you're at 9 Dawn, you just play this, you use its effect to either get like Usopp, Nami on the board, any 3 cost card you can find. You could even basically play Bart and restand your board after swinging with what you had previously set up. You can play on Utah just to protect the kid in case they go like 10k at the kid. You can just Utah block them and it's gonna stay there. It's a way better blocker than Luffy in my opinion. That's why I run 2 of the kids. Go into the events. Of course, we're gonna run 4 New Genesis, which is just the best card in the deck in my opinion. Not only it can search you basically any card of the deck, it's a free usage. You don't spend the Dawn because you get the Dawn back. So every time you see this, you should just play it as your first play to see what kind of options you have. And after that, start doing everything else. But this is like the best card in my opinion in the whole deck. Going to the second best card in my opinion in regards of events is I'm Invincible. 4 of these against Sakazuki, it's that's it. There's not much Sakazuki can do when you have 4 of these, right? I mean, you put a lot of pressure. If you go early on Brook, Usopp, then you go like Monkey D. Luffy into Zoro, or Monkey D. Luffy into Brook, Usopp. You just push into their life, give them aggression, and later on, after they cleared everything, used up a lot of resources, you have this. With this, at least having 2 of these with the Utah and no board, you can go 9k 3 times. That's just OP, and you're gonna get a new card. Basically, for 1 card, you go 9k 3 times throughout the whole turn without having a board, which is just nonsense. And if they do have blockers, you have Backlight. I was trying to play it at 3, but at this point I'm playing only 2 because once again, like I said, you can search a lot of the cards. Same like with Zoro. Of course, this is a good card, but there are some like matchups where it's not that good, like against Enel. He's not gonna play low cost unless they're blockers, so you're just gonna keep these for blockers. If you want to clear the board, it's a good card, especially if there's a 5 cost on the board, which is good, and you can pop it. Is good, but there's just like no space. If I could find space, I would add a third backlight into the build, in my opinion. And the last two cards, which are two non-film cards, is Pun Gibson and Spiderweb. I was testing 4 Pun Gibsons because its trigger is just too good, and like I said, we need more defense in the deck because there's not a lot of defense in the deck. And I've tried more, but as soon as we get more defense into the deck, these will come out of the deck. But at this point, I would rather keep these because sometimes you'd rather keep the 2 Dawn open and have these, and they just do wonders. With Spiderweb, you can basically counter out of a 9k, let's say, or 10k. With Luffy, you block it, then you activate Spiderweb, you give the Luffy more attack to survive that 9 or 10k swing, and he is restanded and you can block with him again, so it's very good. If it's Pun Gibson and they have a blocker when they swing at you, you just use this, you rest their blocker, next turn you're definitely gonna win, especially if you have I'm Invincible. Of course, some cards are a bit out of budget for some people, like these, or even this. So I have a few cards prepared on the side just to show you what you could use, which could be playable. Like you could add any 2k counter, like a carrot, or like the baby fives that have 2k, just to replace those expensive cards if you don't have them. You could get the like Don Quixote the Flamingo 10 cost if you wanna play more of a control build with more backlights and less Invincibles, I guess. You can try to do that, but I don't like the Don Quixote because I want to go aggressive, and usually at like 10 Dawn, I would rather go and finish the game than just play a 10 cost, you know. I know that's just my opinion. Some people play it, I've seen it. You can switch up some things if you wish. You can add more like spider webs or other events like Pun Gibson if you wish, because spider webs are not that expensive. Pun Gibson is a bit more expensive. If you want to make this deck a bit budget friendly. Or I've seen people play this, which is basically a zero cost event. You trash one card and you get 3k. So if you have non-counter cards like a Luffy or an event card, you can use this to give yourself 3k if you wish. That's also an option you can use. But yeah, by the end of the day, this is my build. Like I said, you can add more Luffys, you can add more backlights. It all depends on you. But this is what I've been testing for the past 2 months, and this is what I like, simply for that aggression. Of course, once we get new cards, this will come out of the deck definitely, because we will have more good cards. This might get switched out for other cards. Maybe I'll keep it at 2 because we'll get good 2k counters, like even a film 2k counters coming up, which is way better than having this. But I would rather have at least 10 to 12 2k counters, I guess, and maybe bump up the amount of kits once we go into OPO7. It all depends, but for this meta, this is what I'm going to be running, and this is what I like with the ratios and amounts. Like I said, I tried 4 Bartolomeus, and I even have the 4 Bartolomeus, but it's not good to play 4, in my opinion, because yeah, I mean, there are better cards and you can find it if you need it, like I said, with the Genesis and the Nami. If you have like any specific questions you would like to ask me, you can always join the Discord and I will answer you as soon as possible. And just hit me up, like give me a DM or something like that. And of course, don't forget to subscribe and have a good day.